Chapter 31, The Rap. There is no rhyme or reason to a life and career such as the one I've had and hope to still have. I'm thankful for the fact that it won't be necessary for me to look back at the end of the road and regret not taking a chance. Being an only child has its advantages and disadvantages. My mother was 35 when I was born. She was advised by the doctor to let me be her last and only child. One advantage to being it is that decisions for my life's direction made were mine and mine alone. The same holds true for the decisions I made for my aging parents. A downside is that it's easy to think that the world revolves around you when all the attention is on you early on. Another is that had I had a sibling, I often wonder who it might have been. From my perspective, when the firstborn of a multi-child family arrives, they are an only child for only a little while. He or she will be the one to set the example for the siblings who follow. That can either go well or not so well. For example, my wife Jolie is the youngest of 4. She was able to witness firsthand the adventures and mishaps of her siblings in order to learn what to do and what not to do and choose a different path. There seems to be plenty of data presented there in order to choose what route to take. For me, there was nothing to keep me from walking into a disaster of some sort when first venturing out into the world. I was literally attending the school of hard knocks. Fortunately, having intelligent and caring parents made that journey somewhat easier, but naivety was still present. I know that my mom, as any parent would, wanted me to follow the straight and narrow perfect life path. Whether or not I would be wealthy wasn't a concern, but I know she wouldn't turn that possibility down. Since my family were all working people, she just wanted me to have the best opportunity possible to make a comfortable living. While growing up, she had seen her family struggling just to get by, staying 1 month ahead of the rent and never having a place of their own that they could call home. As I stated earlier, she put her whole adult life on the back burner in order that I might have the freedom to choose whatever career I wanted. Sometime in the early 2000s, I told my mom that I realized I didn't turn out to be the son she had in mind. She said she loved me no matter what, and that she couldn't have asked for a better son. While I knew that, I told her that I meant the fact that I just went against all logic in trying to live the life and have the career I wanted. Her expectations were me to finish college in a timely manner and go to work for the government. As far as being a musician, she always wanted me to learn to play the piano. I know that dream took a detour when she began letting me take guitar lessons at age 9. I'm sure that she didn't have any idea that I would chase music as a career. While playing and teaching guitar would be an acceptable form of sideline income, she would rather I get a real job with benefits, etc. Well, you can see how that played out this day and age. I had to do things my way or bust. Her career as a civilian employee for the U.S. Army was very lucrative and rewarding for her at the time in the 60s and 70s. That scenario changed many years after she retired. The military installation where she worked at Fort Monmouth, New Jersey was later closed. Word has it that before demolition operations were to proceed, Bruce Springsteen rented out the property to rehearse the E Street Band before one of his tours. Talk about turning the tables. It seems that what kept me going was to make sure my life and career was one of my choosing. To make the best of it and not let anyone get in my way was a declaration I made early on. A running joke is that when I was in high school, I vowed that whatever I did in life would allow me to sleep late. Thankfully, that was true more often than not. It was also amazing how some people tried to stand in the way or just go out of the way to make things difficult or block the way of progress. When I encountered this type of person, I would just go around them. Winston Churchill said, never, never, never give up. I haven't so far. While I never had a number 1 hit, or an act that would sell out arenas, I am fortunate to have had a career in music that has extended decades. How is it that so many critics who are either frustrated musicians or not even musicians at all seem to be the ones who think they are the industry authority and their opinion is law? Jealousy runs rampant in the music business. The fact that the many great musicians who I had the chance to perform and interact with accepted me meant more than all of the great and not so great reviews combined. The fact that I was blessed enough to live through some tough times, raise 2 fine sons, pay my house off, and marry a woman who went out of her way to support, invest in, and encourage me is a miracle in itself. As I complete this writing, the world now is a totally different world from the one described in the first chapter of this book. I first started playing guitar before John F. Kennedy was assassinated and before the Beatles came to America. Music came to me over transistor radios and 45 RPM records. TV was black and white and was received terrestrially over rabbit ears antennas. The computer at my high school required a whole separate building to house it in when it arrived around 1970. The emergence of fax machines and cordless phones was mind-blowing stuff that only George Jetson could make any sense out of. And to top it off, they put a man on the moon. Issues that faced us now were never even thought of back then. Terms like political correctness, information overload, global warming, AIDS, social media, Homeland Security, Millennial, LOL, OMG, WTF, and who knows how many others weren't even thought of yet. And there were problems facing us in the mid-20th century that have now been long forgotten. To quote the words from my song, "There's something wrong. What worried me yesterday don't bother me today." Through all the ups and downs and touch-and-go moments in my life, as well as this crazy world we live in, referring to the song of mine I just mentioned, I'm very thankful that everything appears to have turned out okay so far. Thank you for being here and joining me on my journey to this point. More to come. Stay tuned.